Alright, Bismillah. Okay, so Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah, wa asyhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Innal hamdalillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli, amma ba'du. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Thank you so much for attending this class. First of all, let us all express our gratitude towards Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who has been giving us health and time to attend this talk here, to attend this inshallah beneficial talk for everyone, especially during these times of the rising cases of COVID-19, and it reaches until 3,000 to 4,000 a day. So that's quite worrying. So whoever out there who is healthy, let us praise Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. And whoever unfortunately got COVID, I hope and I pray to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala that He will give you health and He will give you cure, inshallah. So just one extra information. This is the first time I attend a Zoom meeting with a sign language interpreter. So I am very excited because all this while, I think from when I was born until now, I have never seen a sign language interpreter in a Zoom meeting before. So this is the first time. So secondly, I would like to thank Muslim Converts Association in Singapore for inviting me to give this talk. I'm very humbled and honored to be giving this talk. As I've said before, I like to do public speaking and like to do talks. So I hope after this quite not short lah, after this 1 hour talk, maybe we can get benefits from this talk, inshallah. Okay, so without further ado, inshallah, I will be starting my talk now. So today we are going to talk about the deception, jinns and Satan. Okay, so I'm confident enough that all of us have heard about jinns and Satan before. And in this 1 hour talk, inshallah, I will be talking about 4 things. Number 1, understanding jinns and Satan, who they are and what are the difference between them. Okay, so basically, some of us, or maybe most of us, get confused on who are the jinns and who are Satan. Are they the same or are they different? And who is Iblis, for example? Okay, so inshallah, I will be talking about that. Number 2, the purpose of their creation. Okay, so why Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala created jinn at the first place. Number 3, the promise of deception from Iblis or from Satan, and types of their deception and how to protect ourselves from them. Okay, so inshallah, that will be the third topic. And the last one, inshallah, about seeking help from jinns. Okay, or it is known as sihr. Okay, and why is it a form of deception and how to address it. Okay, so before everything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I want to share this ayat with all of you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَرَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ, who believe in the unseen, establish prayer, and spend out of what we have provided for them. So basically, this is in the verse 3 of Surah Al-Baqarah, and Allah SWT talks about those who are successful in the hereafter and in this dunya, of course. Okay, so one of the criteria is to believe in the unseen. Okay, so what is the unseen? So we can look at the Arkanul Iman, for example. We have 6 Arkanul Iman. Number 1, believing in Allah. Number 2, believing in Malaika, believing in the prophets, believing in the books of Allah, believing in the Day of Judgment, and Qadar. So if we look carefully, these 6 pillars of Iman are basically al-ghaib. Okay, we cannot see Allah SWT. We cannot see the prophets before us. We cannot predict when is the Day of Judgment. We cannot see the books of Allah, meaning the Injil or Torah, the books before Al-Quran. So these 6 pillars are basically al-ghaib, the unseen. Okay, and when we are talking about the unseen, any information that we get from, any information that we want to talk about the unseen, right, should be referred to only the Al-Quran and Sunnah. Okay, why? Because none of us can know their identities. None of us can know their exact physicalities or their exact shape, for example, or their exact definition. Okay, unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or Rasulullah SAW told us. Okay, because they are the ones who, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah are the only ones who know about these things. Okay, even Rasulullah SAW doesn't know or didn't know when the day of judgment exactly is, right? So when we are talking about al-ghaib, the unseen, we should only refer to the Al-Quran and Sunnah. Okay, and from this ayah itself, we can see that in this world, there are two realms, the unseen and the seen. Okay, so basically what we are seeing here, what we can feel, what is available to our five senses, we can touch, we can smell, we can feel, we can see, is basically the seen realm. And those who those who cannot see, we cannot see, the angels, the jinn, for example, Satan, uh, the prophets before us, all of these are the realm of the unseen. Okay, so I think I have to share this because in this modern day where social media is quite a platform for things to go viral, people can just spread fake news or fake information about these unseen things, and people who is vulnerable, who are vulnerable, can actually fall for that. For example, they say that the day of judgment will be in the year 2030, 2035, and some people who are vulnerable, who doesn't have basic knowledge of Islam or who didn't have the privilege to learn about Islam, you know, they can fall for that and they can believe in the wrong things. So I think this is very important before we move on. Okay, so the first topic for today, understanding jinns and Satan, who they are and what are the difference between them. So firstly, jinn. The word jinn in Arabic refers to something that is concealed and hidden. Okay, so the root word of jinn is basically al-jannah. Okay, so in Arabic language, any words that have the root word, the same root word, will basically have the same concept or the same meaning. Okay, so let us take a look at an example. Al-Majnun. Okay, Janana is from Jannah as well. Okay, it means someone who has lost their mind, or someone who is crazy. Okay, so what does it have to do with concealed and hidden? It means that their brains are already concealed. Okay, so that they cannot think properly. So another example is janin. Okay, in the Malay word, janin is basically a baby, all right? Or not a baby in the womb, basically. Okay, a fetus. So the root word of janin is also jannah, and we can see that janin is basically concealed and hidden inside the mother's womb. Okay, so that's the beauty of the Arabic language, just to share with all of you. So anything that has the root word of jannah means uh, something that's concealed and hidden. So jinn, they are concealed and hidden from our bare eyes. Okay, so that's why they are called jinn. Okay, number two, the second information about them is that they were created before man. Okay, I will share about this later, much more. Number three, jinns were created by smokeless fire. They are invisible to human eyes. They are mentioned in the Quran 32 times in the different forms of the word. Jinnun, Jannun, yeah, basically those two, jinn and Jannu. And number six, there are good jinns and bad jinns. Okay, so like I said before, any information that we have to refer it to the Quran and Sunnah. So this is the ayah, or this is the verse that shows that jinns were created before men. Okay, wal janna, on the first, walaqad khalaqna al-insana min salsalin min hama'in masnun wal janna khalaqnahu min qablu min naris sam. And we did certainly create man out of clay from an altered black mud, and the jinn we created before from scorching fire. Surah Al-Hijr, verse 26 and 27. So this shows that the jinn were created before man. Okay, and when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to create Nabi Adam, okay, in Surah Al-Baqarah, the Malaika asked, why would you want to make someone who would destroy the earth as a Khalifa? Okay, this also shows that before humans were created, jinns were already creating chaos. Jinns were already somehow make chaos in the world before humans were created. Okay, that the Malaika started to question Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why are you making someone who would destroy the earth as a Khalifa? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replied to the Malaika, indeed I know, or I have the knowledge of what you don't have. Okay, so basically jinns before mankind were created, okay, they have already been creating chaos, they've already destroying everything. Okay, so that's the first information about them. And the second one, jinns were created by smokeless fire. So according to Ibn Kathir, the fire was taken from the clean, pure, extremely hot, and the most excellent. And this is the verse, the same verse as before. وَالْجَانَّ خَلَقَنَاهُ مِنْ قَبْلُ مِنْ نَارِ السَّمُومِ. And we did certainly create man and the jinn we created before from scorching fire. And a hadith from Rasulullah SAW says that خُلِقَتِ الْمَلَائِكَةُ مِنْ نُورٍ, angels have been created from light. وَخُلِقَ الْجَانُّ مِنْ مَارِجٍ مِنْ نَارٍ, and the jinn have been created from the fire, from fire without smoke. وَخُلِقَ آدَمْ مِمَّا وُصِفَ لَكُمْ, and Adam has been created from what was described for you, which is from soil or from mud. Okay, so Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu also make this tafsir, okay, interpret this ayat that has been shown here as Nari Samum is basically fire without smoke. Okay, and the fire is the most excellent fire. It consists of the three different colors: the blue color, red color fire, and the green fire. So that is why jinn or Iblis, okay, felt that he was superior towards Adam. Okay. And number three, they are invisible to human eyes. Okay, this is the ayat, innahu yarakum huwa wa qabiluhu min haythu la tarawnahu. Indeed, he sees you, which is the jinn. He and his tribe can see you from where you do not see them. From Surah Al-A'raf, verse 27. Okay, and I know the fact that some people maybe have been given from Allah SWT the ability to see jinn, for example, to see Satan. Okay, but generally we are all concealed, or our eyes are basically hidden from seeing them. Okay, just those exceptions from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gave them the ability to see jinn and Satan. Okay, so when I say that they are invisible, it means generally they are invisible to human eyes. All right, now we are talking about Satan. Okay, so when we are talking about Satan, I just want to point out two terms here, Iblis and also Satan. Okay, what are the difference between both of them? Okay, so Iblis is the devil in English. So the word Iblis, according to most linguists, okay, from the language perspective, come from the root word ablasa. Okay, ablasa, which means desperation from Allah's mercy, or stem from the word balasa, which means no benefits. Okay, so according to Ibn Manzur, they are called Iblis due to their despair of mercy and compassion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so when Iblis fought or became arrogant towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when Nabi Adam was created, okay, he was thrown out from heaven. He was thrown out from heaven, and he was, he was kicked out from heaven, and that is where desperation from Allah's mercy came. Okay, and it means no benefits, that anything that Iblis did, or anything that Iblis and the Satan did, will not bring them any benefits, will not bring them to heaven, will not bring them to have more rewards. Okay, so that is the meaning of Iblis linguistically. So the devil is the head of the Satan, okay, who incited mankind to do wickedly, fighting and disobeying Allah, and always endeavored to lead them astray from his guidance. Okay, so Iblis is basically the head of the Satan. Okay, so one thing about jinn, right, they can also reproduce just as humans. Okay, so when Iblis was the head, that does not mean that all of his kids or all of his successors were basically bad. Okay, because some of them are also good and some of them are also bad. Okay, so because of their reproduction, okay, there are a lot of Satan after Iblis, who some of them can be good and some of them can be bad. Okay, I will explain on this later a bit more. So the word Satan, okay, or shaitan, stems from the root word shaitana, okay, which means to stay away. So number one, whoever prefers to disturb, okay, whoever to prefer disturb or create chaos, either they are from jinn, from human, or an animal, can be called as Satan or shaitan in Arabic language. Okay, this is according to Ibn Manzur. So they are named Satan because they are away from the truth, okay, and usually like to disrupt. Okay, this is according to Al-Qurtubi. Okay, so in summary, jinns are basically entities, just like human beings. Okay, Iblis is also a name for one of the jinn, basically, and Satan. Okay, Satan is basically an adjective. Okay, so any jinn that is good are basically called jinns. Okay, and any jinns that are bad, who disobey Allah, are called Satan. Okay, this is, of course, there are so many different interpretation and different views on this, but this is the majority. This is the views of the majority. Okay, Satan are basically you used to describe an entity who is who likes to disrupt people, who likes to create chaos. Okay, but in this world, okay, in this current context, because language evolves. Okay, so when we use the word shaitan, it means the jinn lah, basically, right? We don't call people Satan just like that, right? So when we say shaitan, it definitely or it automatically means the jinn that is bad. Okay, and when we say jinn in this current context, it basically means, you know, those evil spirits or the evil jinns. Okay, so according to this current context, that's what it means. Okay, but according to the linguistic context, right, jinn are basically a more general term, and Satan are basically a specific term for the bad jinns. Okay, so what is the purpose of the creation? Okay, why Allah Subhanahu wa Taala created them? Okay, in this part, I will talk about two things: the purpose they were created, okay, and then their purpose in this world. Okay, I think we all know, and I will share after this, that our purpose of being created by Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is to worship Him, right? And our destination, our final destination will be the Jannah, the heaven, right? But then when we are born, right, we have our own purpose in this world, right? Sometimes we want to have a good family, we want to have a good job. Sometimes we want to become rich, we want to have a certain amount of cars, you know, we want a house. Okay, so we have our own purpose in this world. Okay, and I'm not saying having those purpose is wrong. Okay, it's just that as long as we do not stray away from the real or the main purpose that we will be created, which is to worship Allah and to attain heaven. Okay, so the same goes for jinn. Okay, so their purpose, the purpose that they were created to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَمَا خَلَقَتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Okay, and I did not create the jinn and mankind except to worship me. Okay, so this ayat proves that, or this verse proves that jinns are mukallaf as well, similar to humans. Okay, so as I've said, that is their main purpose. Okay, but what is their purpose after they were being created, right? And I will share about that later on. Okay, so this is also proven, right, that jinns are mukallaf in number of verses. Number one, in Surah Jinn itself, قُلْ أُوحِيَ إِلَيَّ أَنَّهُ اسْتَمَعَ نَفَرٌ مِنَ الْجِنِّ فَقَالُوا إِنَّا سَمِعْنَا قُرْآنًا عَجَبًا يَهْدِي إِلَى الرُّشْدِ فَآمَنَّا بِهِ وَلَنْ نُشْرِكَ بِرَبِّنَا أَحَدًا. So say, O Muhammad, it has been revealed to me, okay, meaning Muhammad, that a group of jinn listened and said, indeed, we have heard an amazing Quran. It gets to the right cause and we have believed in it. And we will never associate with our Lord with anyone. This is from Surah Al-Jinn, verses number 1 and 2. So if you can see here, it means that these jinns, right, those who heard the amazing Quran, basically became Muslims. Okay, so that is what I meant by saying that jinns can be bad and jinns can be good. So the good jinns are basically the Muslims jinn. Okay, similar to humans. Okay, so number 2, وَأَنَّا مِنَّا الْمُسْلِمُونَ وَمِنَّا الْقَاسِطُونَ. Okay, فَمَنْ أَسْلَمَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ تَحَرَّوْا رَشَدًا وَأَمَّا الْقَاسِطُونَ فَكَانُوا لِجَهَنَّمَ حَطَبًا. And among us, meaning the among jinn, are Muslims, meaning they submit to Allah, they worship Allah SWT. And among us are the unjust, right? Similar to human beings. There are some of us who believe in Allah SWT and we submit to Allah, and some of us who are not, who does not believe in Allah SWT. Okay, and whoever has become Muslim from the jinns, they have sought out the right cause, meaning they are on a guided path, they're on the right path. But as for the unjust, they will be for hell, meaning they will go to hell. Okay, so if we can see also in as well in this ayat here, right, in these two verses, we see that jinns also go to heaven and jinns also go to hell. Okay, so similarly as human beings, some of us, basically Muslims, will go to heaven and non-Muslims will go to hell, right? Number 3, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. So which of the favors of your Lord would you deny? This is in Surah Ar-Rahman. Okay, so according to some of the scholars, okay, if you can see the one that I highlighted in yellow, ban, okay, it means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to two people, to two groups of people. So who are these two groups? Basically the jinn and the humans. Okay, so when Allah is directing the ayat to both of them, okay, it means that both of them are mukallaf, meaning they are obligated to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They have responsibilities as Muslims. Okay, so having said that, this only proves that jinn and human beings are basically the same. It's just that they are different entities. They cannot be seen by our bare eyes. They cannot be touched. They cannot be seen. They cannot be felt, basically. And the only difference is that the essence of the creation. We are created from soil or from mud, and the jinns were created from fire. But their purpose in this life, right, in this world, is the same. Okay, is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to do good, to attain heaven, basically. Okay, and Rasulullah SAW, when he preached Islam, okay, he did not only preach to Muslims, I mean human beings. Indirectly, he was also preaching towards the jinn. Okay, so whoever from the jinn heard about this, about Islam, about Quran, about Hadith, right? They can be converted into Muslims, or they can just disobey and become Muslims. Okay, so as crazy as it may sound, like, so basically jinns are the invisible creation of us. Okay, but of course we are different lah. Okay, they are made from fire. Okay, so like I said, they were created to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what was their purpose after they were being created? Okay, so they promised Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to deceive people, to deceive human beings, to deceive the sons of Adam. Okay, so this is from Surah Al-A'raf verses 19 to 22. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the tongue of Nabi Adam. Oh no, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Adam, O Adam, dwell you and your wife in paradise and eat from wherever you will, but do not approach this tree, lest you be among the wrongdoers. Okay, but Satan whispered to them, to make apparent to them that which was concealed from them of their private parts. He said, your Lord did not forbid you this tree, except that you become angels or become of the immortal. Okay, meaning to say that this Iblis said to Nabi Adam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not want you, Allah does not want you to eat from this tree because He does not want you to become an angel, or He does not want you to become immortal. Okay, so that's how Iblis deceived Nabi Adam. Okay, and Iblis swore by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to them, saying, indeed, I am to you from among the sincere advisors. So from the perspective of Nabi Adam, Iblis was a sincere advisor. Okay, he was telling Nabi Adam that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not want you to eat from this tree because He does not want you to become an angel. He does not want you to become immortal. So He made them fall through deception. And when they tasted of the tree, their private parts became apparent to them, and they began to fasten together over themselves from the leaves of paradise. Okay, and their Lord called to them, did I not forbid you from that tree and tell you that Satan is to you a clear enemy? Okay, so because of that, and then Nabi Adam read the dua, Rabbana zalamna anfusana wa illam taghfir lana wa tarhamna lanakunanna minal khasirin. Okay, that famous dua, okay, seeking forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, and due to this incident, Nabi Adam was being sent down from heaven to earth and became enemies with Iblis. Okay, there are some, how will I say, there are some people who dislike Islam who would say that this is all because of Nabi Adam. If it's not because of Nabi Adam who ate from that tree, we will all be in heaven. Okay, I mean, this statement does not only come from the non-Muslims, sometimes it came from the Muslims themselves. Okay, but we have to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the knowledge of everything that happens in this world, in the hereafter, even before this world was created. Okay, because Allah is the most wise, is the most just, right? So He knows everything that happens. So this is the concept of cause and effect. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala basically is teaching us, this is the thing called cause and effect. If you do something, of course there are consequences. Okay, if we study, then we will pass our exam. If we plant a seed, then it become a tree. Okay, so that is the nature of this law. That is the system of this world, basically, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. So we cannot simply blame Nabi Adam for eating from that tree. Okay, even, it seems impossible, but even if Nabi Adam wouldn't eat from the tree, right, he would still be sent down to earth, because that's what Allah has said for all of us. Okay, so I just want to make that clear, because that statement is quite controversial and quite misleading, and it basically shows us that we do not believe in Allah, or we are criticizing Nabi Adam, the Prophet. Okay, so after the incident, Allah SWT, after the incident of not prostrating towards Nabi Adam, right? When Allah SWT created Nabi Adam, he asked the angels to prostrate to Nabi Adam, and all of the angels prostrated to him, okay, except for Iblis. Okay, Iblis did not want, and Iblis disobeyed Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Okay, and Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala asked Iblis, why did you not prostrate to Nabi Adam when I asked you to? Okay, then Iblis said, why would I prostrate to him? I was made out of fire and he was made out of soil or mud, right? So because of that, Iblis felt superior. Iblis was arrogant. Okay, that he basically was made out of fire, that he was basically better, 100 times better from Nabi Adam, and because of that, Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala kicked him out from heaven. But before he kicked him out from heaven, what did Iblis say to Allah? What did Iblis say to Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala? Okay, Satan says, okay, but this is Iblis, because you have put me in error, I will surely sit in wait for them on your straight path. Then I will come to them from before them and from behind them and on their right and on their left, and you will not find most of them grateful to you. So Iblis promised Allah SWT that he will come to us, human beings, from all sorts of directions, from the front, from the back, from the right, from the left, right? To deceive us, to lead us astray, and for us not to be grateful to Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Okay, so this is, there are lots of ayat or verses that talks about this. Okay, the second one, Iblis said, by your might I will surely mislead them all, except among them your chosen servants. Surah Sa'ad, verses 82 and 83. Okay, so in the linguistic perspective, right? La ughwiyannahum. Okay, the third word from right. Qala fabi'izatika la ughwiyannahum. If any verb in Arabic language starts with la ughwiyannahum, meaning it is a sign of commitment. It is a sign of determination. So Iblis said, by your might, I will surely mislead them. Okay, Iblis did not say, I will mislead them. I will surely mislead them. That's a promise. That's the determination from Iblis. Okay, that's the commitment that Iblis is giving to Allah SWT. Okay, he will, and he will try to make us, to lead us astray. Okay, and this third ayat is quite interesting because it is the same ayat. Okay, just that Iblis said, my Lord, because you have put me in error, I will surely make disobedience attractive to them on earth, and I will mislead them all, except among them your chosen servants. So in these two verses, Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, or Iblis said, or Iblis added one word, I will surely make disobedience attractive to them. Okay, so in this world, sometimes we can see some things that are unlawful, some things that are prohibited in Islam, but it is attractive, but they are attractive. So we start to do it. Okay, so that's one of the ways how Iblis deceive us. Okay, so because Iblis will make sure that disobedience in front of us look attractive to us, that we won't try it. Okay, and I will share about the ways of Iblis deception after this. Okay, so this is the promise that Iblis said to made to Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala before he was kicked down from heaven and was being sent down to earth to become enemies with Nabi Adam. Okay, and Iblis is one of the entities, or one of the creation that will be living until the day of judgment. He will not die. Okay, so Iblis, Malaika, for example, okay, they will live until the day of judgment. Okay, they will not die. Okay, so this is the types of Satan's deception. Okay, so the biggest area where Satan will come and deceive is through the lack of knowledge. Meaning, if we have lack of knowledge, that's where Satan lies. Okay, that's where Iblis, or Satan, I won't say Iblis, that's where Satan will come in and try to deceive us if we lack knowledge. Okay, so in the book Talbis Iblis, right? It is a very good book. it shows or it tells us, Ibn Jawzi told us the ways Satan the Satan is trying to deceive us. Okay, and there are a lot of aspects, there are a lot of groups, okay, that they said, that Ibn Jawzi said, okay, Satan's deception towards Muslims, towards sects of Muslims, for example, Shia, for example, Ahli Sunnah, towards Maturidiyah, Khawarij. Okay, so there are a lot of groups or a lot of topics, subtopics that Ibn Jawzi wrote regarding where Satan will come in and try to deceive people. But the basic principle is that Satan will come and deceive if someone has the lack of knowledge. Okay, so I will just focus on two things here. Okay, the general mass, mean the awam, mean the community, and the second one is ibadah. How Satan is trying to deceive us in these two aspects. Okay, so in terms of ibadah, okay, so in terms of ibadah, number one, ablution, for example. Okay, so for ablution, for example, our niyat, okay, we try to say nawaitul wudu'a lillahi ta'ala, or we are trying to say nawaitu raf'al hadathil asghar lillahi ta'ala. Okay, then we want to take ablution, but then we thought that we nullify our niyat, then we start to read it again, nawaitu wudu'a lillahi ta'ala. Then we want to take our wudu, then we forgot if we say it correctly, and we try to say niyat again. Okay, so that's how Satan is deceiving us at that point of time, because if we have if we have the knowledge, basically niyat comes from your heart. Okay, it's not from your lafaz. So even if you don't say it out loud, your wudu, okay, anything you do, your salat, for example, can still be valid because you have your niyat in your from your heart. Okay, so that's why the lack of knowledge. Okay, people thought or people think that saying out loud is compulsory, so that when you read it out loud, if you don't read it out loud, then your act or your actions will be nullified. Okay, so this is the one type of deception that Satan is giving to us. Okay, number two, maybe ablution. Some would think that, where did this water come from? Okay, then they will start to think about that, and then they will start to create possibilities. Okay, this water will comes from the reservoir, this water comes from the sea, whether it's halal, whether it is clean, whether it's dirty. Okay, and from that point of time, right, when that person is thinking of all of those possibilities, he might miss the Jama'ah prayers, he might miss first rakat, he might miss the prayers even, okay, because of his thinking. Okay, I know this sounds like extreme, but there are people who are like this. Okay, so if we know from the fact that as long as the water is clean and pure, right, we don't have to know where the source come from lah. Okay, or we have the confidence that this water comes from a good source. Okay, especially in Singapore. Okay, so we know that the water comes from a good source, so we have to have the confidence that this water is already clean, okay, and is permissible for you to take ablution with it. Okay, and the last thing about ablution is when you start to have doubts whether you have done 3 times, whether you have done 2 times of your washing of your face, washing of your hands, for example. Okay, and that's where Satan comes in. Okay, and then you will try to do 4 times, 5 times, just to make sure you completed the 3 times. Okay, and with that you have already wasted water. Okay, and innal mubadzirina kanu min ikhwani shayatin. Okay, verily the ones who waste things basically are the friends or the brothers of shaitan. Okay, so shaitan likes that. Okay, so if you have the knowledge, basically if you want to take ablution, 1 time is also actually enough. Okay, you don't have to do it 3 times. Okay, so if you are doubtful whether you have to 1 time or 2 times, right, doesn't matter, you can just continue to the next part of your body. Okay, so that's where you see, from ablution alone, okay, from when you want to start your prayer, from ablution alone, there are 3 things that Satan will come in and try to deceive you. Okay, number 2, prayers. Again, your niyat. Okay, you are saying usalli for zuri al-barakatin ada'an lillahi ta'ala, and then when you want to say Allahu Akbar, then you are like Is my niat valid? Okay, never mind. Then you start to nullify your prayers, you start to read it again. Sorry for Zuri al-Barakatin, then you start to do it again and again. Okay, so that's where Satan comes in. Okay, with that alone, right, you are taking time and you may have missed the first rakah, you have missed the jama'ah itself. Okay, or maybe you have missed the prayers. Okay, so so that's the first one, the niyat. Okay, just like ablution. The second thing about prayers is ignoring the sunnah. Okay, so that's where Satan also comes in and they say that this is just a sunnah. Okay, you don't have to do it. Just pray quickly. So you do your Allah Akbar, you do your Fatiha, without the iftitah, you do your Fatiha, then you ruku, 2 seconds you come up, you didn't even read this, you don't even read the Subhana Rabbil Azim wa bihamdi, you didn't do all the sunnah in the prayers. Yes, your prayers are valid, but Satan tried to deceive you by reducing your rewards. Okay, so if there's a hadith that if you there's a hadith from Rasulullah, he says that if people knew, okay, the reward of doing sunnah acts, okay, even if they are not capable of doing it, they will try their very best to do it. Okay, so in that, a very great reward, sunnah acts. Okay, and I'm sure most of us or some of us would think that when we are shortage of time, when we are late for something, okay, we only do the 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 compulsory, the rukun, okay, and we ignore all the sunnah acts. Okay, in fact, the sunnah acts is the one that can complete our prayers where it lacks. Okay, so that's the second thing. And the third thing about prayers is that someone would actually pray qiyamul lail, pray duha, pray all of these voluntary prayers. Okay, it looks good, right? But where's the deception in this? Okay, people will try, I mean, some of the people will pray qiyamul lail the whole night, and then after the qiyamul lail, they will sleep for a little, and then they miss the subuh prayers. So you do the sunnah prayers, you do the voluntary prayers, but you miss the compulsory, the fara'id, the subuh prayers. So this is how Satan deceive you. Okay, so deceive the people basically. Okay, so look at how even when you are doing good thing, it's actually bad for you. Okay, or maybe you are praying qiyamul lail all the way, and then you do your subuh, yes, but you are tired for your work next day, and then you don't do your work, you sleep in your work, at your workplace, you don't do your work efficiently, and also your work is your amanah, and it's and it is compulsory for you to do your work properly because it is an amanah for you. Okay, but because you did your qiyamul lail the whole night, and because you know you don't have the strength, but you still want to do a voluntary act, it affects your compulsory act, your compulsory amanah. Okay, so that is how we are being deceived. Okay, number 2, reading the Quran. Okay, one of the examples that Ibn Jauzi said was, you are reading it at night. Okay, this is when masjid was open. You're reading it at night, and you read it loudly with your voice, with your soothing voice, with your pretty voice. Okay, you're reading so loud, 2 pages, 3 pages, or maybe 1 juz. Okay, and it disturbs the others who are trying to rest, who are trying to sleep, because it's the night time. Okay, again, this is a good thing to do, right? But because it disrupts other people, it affects other people, it basically becomes not a really good thing. Okay, and there, when you read it loudly, basically there is some form of riya. Okay, so even when doing a good thing, okay, we are not even aware that we are being deceived by Satan. Okay, and the last one is regarding fasting. Okay, I'm sure all of us, or maybe some of us, I mean me myself, okay, I've experienced it before, where sometimes we after taking our ablution, then we feel like there's some water in our mouth. Okay, then we start to go to the toilet and we start to spit it out, and then we try to pray, and we feel some water in our mouth again, and we go to the toilet again. You see, so basically, because of that, right, we take time, and then we might miss prayers, we might miss the Jama'ah prayers, okay, which will give you 27 times reward. Okay, so that is how basically, Satan deceive us in this term, in terms of ibadah. Okay, so the principal knowledge, or the basis of this is the lack of knowledge. Okay, if we know that doing this is not suitable for this situation, doing this is wrong, doing this is better than this. For example, working is better than something than praying Qiyamul Lail. Okay, so if you have the knowledge, okay, then Satan will not come and try and deceive us. Okay, so that is in terms of ibadah. Okay, now in terms of general mass, okay, the awam, okay, intelligence. Okay, basically, some people would think that they already know a certain amount of knowledge, that they start to contradict or start to attack the scholars who already have much more knowledge than him. Okay, so any fatwa or any rulings that go against their way, they will start to attack that scholar. Okay, they will start to attack and not just attack them, but disregard that fatwa, disregard that opinion. Okay, so by this, right, Satan comes to us, Satan whispers to us that you are right. Okay, anything that you have, the knowledge that you got is from a renowned scholar, for example. Okay, so you don't listen to what other people say. You don't listen to what other people say. Don't listen to others' fatwa, others' opinions, because you are the only one that is right. Good. Okay, so that guy or that girl, right, might think that that is their own thinking. Okay, but basically, in fact, right, that is basically Satan deceiving her or him. Okay, that's number one. Okay, number two, biasness. Okay, people of the general mass would try to how do I say it? Try to glorify those who are zuhud rather than those who have ilmu. Okay, so to the point that even if there's someone who does not have any knowledge but is very zuhud, okay, only searching for the akhirah without regarding or without appreciating the world, without appreciating the life that they are living in, okay, they will still choose that guy. Okay, because he is zuhud, okay, he just thinks about the akhirah, okay, he does not think about the world. Okay, so if we lack knowledge, right, we should not, we should know that people with knowledge are better than people with no knowledge, right? Even if they are zuhud, even if they do so many prayers, so many ibadah, okay, because without ilmu, you wouldn't do your ibadah properly, correct? So but with ilmu, you can do your ibadah properly. So that is why you have to choose people who are intelligent or who are more knowledgeable. Okay, so that's where Satan comes in again. Okay, and say that because he only thinks about the akhirah, believe him, glorify him. Don't believe the one who seek knowledge, who is trying to get salary in this dunya, those dunyawi things. Don't follow that guy. Follow the one who is zuhud. Okay, so that's also where the Satan comes in. Okay, number three, criticizing ulama. Okay, so basically criticizing ulama for doing things that are permissible. Okay, so if we see the ulama that we see in social media, right, they are using jubah, they are using songko. Okay, then when we see them outside using t-shirt, okay, and jeans, we start to disrespect them. We start to say that, oh, this ustaz is not real. This ustaz is not legitimate because he is wearing t-shirt and jeans. Okay, in fact, jeans and t-shirt are basically permissible. Okay, it is not wrong at all. Okay, so without true knowledge, okay, we start to criticize that ulama, we start to criticize that ustaz or ustazah. Okay, just because we don't have the knowledge that in a society, blending in with the society is very important. Okay, if you go to, for example, Orchard Road, okay, wearing juba and songko, right, people will look at you, correct? So it is not appropriate. It's not wrong, okay, but it's not appropriate to wear that kind of, juba in places where there are no other people who wear juba. Similarly, if you go to masjid, right? If you go to masjid and you wear sleeveless or singlet and shorts, right? It is also not appropriate, okay? Because all of those people inside the masjid basically are wearing modestly, okay? They are modest in their clothing, okay? So without that knowledge, right, we start to criticize people who shouldn't be criticized. Okay, and the last one, I think this is also a major thing, following the majority. Okay, so when we see a majority doing a certain thing, even if it's wrong, we start to think that it is right. Okay, so for example, if someone were to see a couple, okay, not married, but they are holding hands, okay, we see lots of them, okay, in the public. So we start to think that that is okay because everybody is doing it, so I can also do it. So we start to do those unlawful things, unlawful activities, just because the majority are doing it. Okay, so that is also a way or a loophole that Satan will come in and try to deceive us. Okay. Similarly, if we see something, for example, degrading any gender, male or female, right? Is the majority doing it? Then we feel that, oh, it is okay to do it. Okay, but in fact, but on the contrary, right? Islam asks us to elevate the status of both male and female. Okay, just because the majority are doing it does not mean that it's right. Okay, we have to have the knowledge of that certain thing, of that certain action, whether it is permissible, whether it's haram, whether it is sunnah, whether it's makruh, and things like that. Okay, so this is in terms of general mass or awam, where Satan can come in and also and try and deceive us. Okay, so yes, these are the types of Satan's deception. All right, I think this will be the last. Okay, no, this is second last. Okay, so how do we protect ourselves from deception? Okay, number one, remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, zikr. Okay, try and do zikr most of the times, not only after prayers, not only not only in the masjid, right? Anywhere you are, you can just say subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar, or Astaghfirullah al-Azim, for example. Okay, if you want to be more specific, you can read the two quotes, Kul a'udzu birabbil falaq and Kul a'udzu birabbin nas. Okay, those two surahs. Okay, and inshallah you will be guided and you will not be deceived by Satan that easily. Okay, number two, seeking knowledge. Okay, like I said, the basis of the deception of Satan is basically based on the lack of knowledge, right? So if we seek knowledge, right, we can be we are not led astray from this deception, although we cannot really physically feel it, physically hear it, right? But what our thoughts are is basically what the Satan is trying to put it in our minds. Okay, so if we seek knowledge, if we seek is enough knowledge, I'm not saying that we have to seek until the PhD level, doctorate level, no. Just seek the basic Islamic knowledge, the knowledge that you need, okay, to pursue your life as a Muslim, as a successful Muslim in this world and the hereafter. Okay, and number three, establish a circle of friends who will constantly remind one another of doing good and to not do bad things or bad actions. Okay, so establish a social support circle of friends that is that are constantly reminding one another is very, very important. Okay, so when you are doing a bad thing or doing something that is not right, okay, your friends or your colleague will remind you. And same goes if they are doing something wrong or if they are doing something that is unlawful, you can also remind them. Okay, so that is how we protect ourselves from the deception. Okay, I think this is the last part. Okay, seeking help from jinns. Okay, so it is called as sihr. Okay, this is a term sihr, where it is an agreement made by the sahir, the one who do the sihr, and Satan. Okay, for the sahir to do some prohibited things or shirk in order for Satan to help him. Okay, so basically, I think this is I'm not sure the English word for it, shaman. Yeah, shaman. Yeah. So in Malay it's bomo. In English it's shaman, where they do things that are prohibited. You know, they do dirty things like drinking blood, bathing, showering themselves with blood, you know, taking someone's blood, for example, using dirt to do all these things in order for Satan to help him. Okay, and sihr is actually sihr actually exists because in the Quran Allah SWT says about sihr too. Okay, in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَاتَّبَعُوا مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينُ عَلَى مُلْكِ سُلَيْمَانَ وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانُ وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا يُعَلِّمُونَ النَّاسَ السِّحْرَ. Okay, so they were being taught to do sihr. Okay, and Rasulullah SAW was also being sihr, how do I say it, was basically being sihr before. Okay, so sihr or seeking help from jinns basically exist. Okay, so the hukum, it is definitely haram, and it can be also considered as shirk. Okay, because it involves one to seek help from Satan rather than seeking help from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Okay, and sihr is very, very, very significant because the majority of scholars agree that that if a sahir is caught, okay, they should be killed. Okay, of course, this is in an Islamic country. Okay, in a non-Muslim society, non-Muslim country, we could not implement these things. Okay, similarly to those who, for example, do zina, to do adultery, do stealing, for example. Okay, they all have their specific punishments, but we cannot implement them in Singapore because we are not Muslim society. We are not a Muslim country. Okay, so basically the punishment shows that sihir is a very big sin, a very big thing that should be avoided. Okay, and what is the cure for sihr? It's basically through Islamic ruqyah guided by the Quran, Sunnah, and zikrs. Again, some of the cure for sihr, like they will also use dirty things. They will also do prohibited things to cure sihr. Okay, so it is basically fighting fire with fire. Okay, they are doing it the wrong way and you are countering it or you are defending it using the wrong way. Okay, so Islamic Ruqyah exists, but it should be guided by the Quran and Sunnah and Zikr. Okay, one of the surah that can be recited, okay, to cure is Surah Al-Baqarah, the whole of Surah Al-Baqarah and the last few ayat of Surah Al-Baqarah, and some of the verses in the Quran. Okay, that is specifically to cure sihr. Okay, so I think that is all that I have to share for now. So in conclusion, jinns, Satan, Iblis, there are three different terms that we should know the difference of, because if you do not know the difference, again, lack of knowledge, we will start to do we start to do, how would I say it, things that are not suitable to the community, to the society. For example, we call people Satan because we just know that it is an adjective. We call people shaitan. Okay, so that is also wrong. Okay, so we have to know the identities and the entities of these three terms: jinn, Satan, and 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 Iblis. Okay, and then the purpose of their creation. Okay, why were they created, and what were their purposes after they were created? Okay, it's basically to deceive human beings. Okay, and there are a lot of ayat, a lot of verses that talks about that. Okay, and number three, we know that the types of the deception of Satan. Okay, how they come in our life, or how they whisper to us using our lack of knowledge of certain things to aggravate that situation. Okay, I think I said before, even when we are doing a good thing, what we thought we are doing a good thing is basically a bad thing, because it has more harm than benefits in that case. Okay, and the last one about seeking help from jinns. Okay, when you seek help from jinn, basically you are doing shirk. You are seeking help from someone else rather than Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, and this is also a type of deception, because yes, Satan will help you if you do that. Okay, so you think that, oh, sometimes I ask Allah Subhanahu wa Taala for this, for that, I do not get it immediately. But when I ask Satan, I get it immediately. So who should I ask? So who should I ask? Of course, they will ask Satan, right? Because they will want those things, or they want what they want immediately. So this is also a kind of deception from Satan, and it is very dangerous, to the point that the punishment for seher is to be killed. Okay, unless before he killed, he taubat, he did the taubat, he repented, and he converted to Muslim lah, basically, or basically just repented. Okay, so I think that is all. Alhamdulillah. So lastly, I would like to apologize if I've said anything that that may be controversial or may hurt anyone's feelings in this Zoom meeting. So thank you so much for listening to my talk. I hope you benefit something. At least one thing is enough for me, inshallah.
MashaAllah, Jazakallahu khair, Ustaz Haziq, MashaAllah, beautiful talk. Right, the slides are very helpful as you were speaking. There are things for us to refer to, and later we get to the questions. It's gonna be interesting, right? Going to be very enlightening as well. Just to talk further about what Ustaz Haziq has mentioned, one of the good things we can refer to in the Quran will be something for us to understand better and to reaffirm our belief system is to read the story of Adam and Iblis. Right? Allah tells that story numerous times in the Quran. As Ustaz Haziq has mentioned, you can find it in Surah Al-Baqarah, you can find it in Surah Al-Araf, you can find it in Surah Al-Kahf, for example. Okay, now it's Friday night, but Thursday night, Friday in the daytime is one of the best times to, the Sunnah for us is to read Surah Al-Kahf. Right, is to protect us from Dajjal as well, from all this deception as well. Right, one of the stories that is mentioned in Surah Al-Kahf is a story of Adam and Iblis. Right, as well as the other parts of the Quran, Allah begins the story in rather the same way. وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ. Okay? Allah commanded all the malaika to actually do sujud to Nabi Adam, and then they all did except Iblis. Right, so the story begins like that, and Allah elaborates the story in the various parts of the Quran. Right, as we talk about something as simple as Basmalah, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, there are numerous translations for that. Sometimes we say in the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful, or in, the most benevolent, the most merciful, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Right. Also, the one that I personally like is the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. Right? Because Allah is Ar-Rahman, entirely merciful, the entirely merciful, and Ar-Rahim, the especially merciful. And when we look back at the story of Adam and Iblis, right? When Iblis had wronged, there was no remorse from him. He actually literally blamed Allah. He said, "You put me in this position," right? And that's why he asked for a respite, that until the end of days, he will be amongst the children of Adam, and he will disturb us, right? So it's only with Allah's wisdom why he actually allows that to happen. Okay? Because we will think, right? If there's no Iblis, then we all be okay. But Iblis is there until the end of time. Right? So that is how Allah's mercy is, right? Allah is entirely merciful to all the creation, whether good or bad. But this is where we understand that Allah is also Ar-Rahim. Okay, and that's Allah, the especially merciful. So we go back to Allah. Okay, and then from the story of Adam and Iblis, we also learn that we cannot defeat Iblis the way we defeat other beings. We cannot use our physical strength to defeat Iblis. We cannot use our intelligence to defeat Iblis. The only way to ask Allah for protection is to say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek refuge, okay, with Allah from the accursed Satan. Right? So those are amongst the things that Ustaz Haziq has mentioned in today's talk. Wonderful. Okay, so that's basically what I want to say as well. So let's go through the questions. So Ustaz Haziq, let me moderate and let me go through one or two questions at a time, inshallah. All right. Okay, let me. Okay. So Ustaz Haziq, I'll go through two questions at a time. Ustaz, how could Muslims protect themselves from being possessed by the evil jinn, sihir, saka, there's a Malay word, etc., apart from reciting the famous three kul and ayat kursi? A second question, which is quite close to this, do jinn die as humans do? Right, so Ustaz, tak apa.
Okay, so thank you for the two questions. Okay, so this question is quite relevant. Okay, so I think the first question was, how do we protect ourselves from being possessed or from saka, from jinn, right? Okay, so to start with, we are all targets of jinns, okay? So even if we, even if we are very pious, we do our 5 daily prayers, we don't miss our prayers, if Allah SWT wills for the jinns to possess us or to disturb us, okay, it will happen. Okay, however, how do we cure from that? Okay, it's very important. Yes, three kuls and the ayat kursi is very beneficial for that. However, in Singapore we have ruqyah services. Okay, so I think it's better if we do not know how to do it ourselves, it's better if we approach them, because they have the tools. They know how to cure you from your ruqya, to do ruqya to you based on your situation, based on your specific situations. Okay, so maybe there are some things that are being hidden in your house, outside your home, that you do not know. Okay, some things that the sahir will do. Okay, so yes, to answer the first question, yes, you can read by yourself, but if it does not work, try to approach a more professional help. Okay, so like if you are sick, okay, if you know how to cure yourself, you can eat Panadol, it's okay. But if it does not subside, then you have to go to a doctor, professional. Okay, so it's the same thing here. Okay, but like I've said before, you have to go to a legitimate service. A legitimate ruqyah service lah. Okay, like I said, some of the ruqyah may use things that are also prohibited. Okay, to counter things that are prohibited. So that is also like fighting fire with fire. It does not work that way. Okay, so I think that answers the first question. Okay, secondly, what was the second question? Sorry.
Do jinn die as humans do?
Oh. Okay, so basically, jinns, they do. Okay, as far as I know, jinns do not die. Okay, until the day of judgment. Okay, because Iblis, when Allah SWT wanted to kick him out from heaven, right? He says, what he say, like, make me from the munzarin. Okay, munzarin. Munzarin means you are like, make me live until the day of judgment. Yeah, so that's the meaning of munzarin. And Allah says, okay, innaka minal munzarin. Okay, you will be alive until the day of judgment. Okay, so there are, if I'm not wrong, okay, so Iblis does not die, okay, and jinns also do not die until the day of judgment. Okay, that's to my knowledge. Okay, if someone else has another knowledge or has anything else, I apologize for that. Okay. And I think that answers the second question.
Yeah. Okay, Ustaz, let me go through two more. Right? Is the ability of having the third eye considered a gift or a curse? Okay. And another one would be, so basically, shaitan feeds doubts into our hearts and minds when we want to do ibadah.
Sorry, what's the second question?
The first one, right?
No,
is the ability of having the third eye considered a gift or a curse?
Oh, okay. No, I asked the second question, sorry.
Second, does shaitan feed doubt into our hearts and minds when we want to do our ibadah? Is that what it is?
Feed what? Dumb?
Doubt.
Doubt. Oh, okay.
Doubt.
Oh, okay. So to answer the first question, I forgot the first question actually.
First question was, is the ability of having the third eye,
it depends on how you use it. Okay, it depends on the situation itself. Having a third eye can be a blessing. Okay, if you use that for good lah. If you use that to help other people. Okay, if you use that to to do ruqyah to other people, to cure other people from sihr, for example. Okay, so it is a blessing. It can be a blessing, and it can also be a curse if it if it disturbs you, or if it basically, because you can see things that is not normal, right? That are not normal. So you may be frightened, and you may be disturbed by it. You are not comfortable going anywhere. So, but in the end, right? It all goes back to our belief and faith in Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Okay, we should always believe that Allah is the most just. Okay, fair fair to everyone, to every human being, to every creation. Okay, so when we are given a third eye, okay, or someone is given a third eye, okay, he should take that as a test or as a blessing from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. In that way, you can gain reward from having that. Okay, so generally, I think we shouldn't say that anything bad that we have is a curse. Okay, it's basically, it can be a test from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala for us to elevate our status in the eyes of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Okay, we just have to believe that Allah is the most just, Allah is the most fair, and Allah knows what He's doing. Allah is full of hikmah, full of wisdom. Okay, so we sometimes we cannot question and we cannot even comprehend Allah's wisdom. Okay, so that's the foundation of whether it is a curse or it is a blessing. Okay, number two. So if the question was about if you have doubts in your salat, is that Satan trying to deceive you? I would say yes. Okay. In Surah An-Nas, for example. Okay. Qul a'udzu birabbin nas, malikin nas, ilahin nas, min syarril waswasil khannas, alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas, minal jinnati wan nas. Okay. Basically, that talks about Satan trying to deceive us. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, correct. Satan trying to deceive us. Okay. So if we are basically praying, and then there's this waswas, whether we have done third or fourth rakaat, second or third rakaat, right? That is Satan trying to deceive us for us to waste more time. Okay, so how do we counter that? Okay, if we encounter that, it is okay, because sometimes it may not be our fault. Okay, we may sometimes feel a little bit sleepy. We are not khushu in our salat, but that's okay. Okay, but how to counter it in future? Read Qul a'udzu birabbil falaq and Qul a'udzu birabbin nas before you salat. Say a'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim, like what Ustaz Hafiz said, right? And when you pray, know the intention why you are praying. Okay, when you know the intention why you are praying, because you want to get rewards, right? Inshallah, with Allah's will, you will not forget, you will not have that waswas inside of you when you're doing prayers. Okay, but yes, to answer that question, waswas in ibadah, right? Is basically a type of deception from Satan. Okay, I think that answers the question.
Yeah, okay, Ustaz, okay, I'll give two more. This person says that I'm living with my grandma, okay, and my husband and our son. My husband and I find it very hard to pray as we are not praying. Why is that? Okay, and the next question would be, if a person does sihr, which category of deception does it fall under? Is it under ibadah or is it under general mass?
Okay, so I answer the second question first, because I think it's a short one. It's general mass, okay? Because people with lack of knowledge, okay, it's not because you are not doing ibadah in a sense, right? You, for example, I don't have the knack or this person does not have the knowledge of jinns or sihr, right? Then they will just focus on the outcome. Okay, they try to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help for these things, for that thing, for anything. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not give him immediately. But when he try and ask from Satan, from jinn, for example, he gets it immediately. So that's a kind of deception there. Okay, they will give you immediately, they will help you. So it falls under the category al-awam, okay, due to the lack of knowledge. Okay. And the second question,
the first one, actually, the first one that's it's like a personal question. Like this person says that I live with my grandma, my husband and myself and our son, and the husband and I find it difficult to do prayers. Not doing prayers. So why is that so?
Okay, so so I think that it's not necessarily mean something. Okay, firstly you have to ask yourself whether are you trying to pray and you cannot pray, or are you trying to pray but then something happened and you lost your interest to pray. Okay, so first question you have to ask yourself whether do you want to pray. Okay, that's the first question. The second question, if you do want that, right, not the second question. The second thing, that if you do want to pray but you are not able to do that for any particular reasons, that may be a sign that you have to do ruqyah to your home itself, okay, or to you. Okay, maybe there's something inside of this is what I heard from some professionals. Okay, one of the signs that the jinn is like not possessing you but is inside you is when you don't like to hear Quran, you find it hard to pray, you find it hard to do ibadah, for example. Okay, it is not a causal effect, meaning if you are hard to pray, it does not mean that you have a jinn. Okay, but it is worth trying to ask from professionals to try to do ruqyah to yourself and try to do to your whole house. Okay, because if it's only you, I think we can try and explore other possibilities. But if it's the whole family, then I think there's something wrong there. Okay, again, I'm not a professional. I just heard this from a professional. But if you like to explore doing ruqyah to yourself and your family and your whole house, you can try and do so and see where that leads to. Okay, so to whoever who asked. Okay, inshallah, you are good.
Ustaz, two more. I've been told bones are the food of the jinn. Does that mean they can see our realm when they're looking for food? Okay. Another one on the concept of Iblis was, it is said that Iblis is the leader. So is there only one Iblis or are there many Iblis out there?
Okay, so the first question is bones are basically food for the jinn, right? And that's true. And what was the question? Can we see them when we eat bones?
It's the other way around. Does that mean they can see our realm when they are looking for food?
Oh yeah, they can see us. Jinns can see us. Okay, so the verse that I shared before, we cannot. I mean, Allah SWT says that we cannot see them like how they see us. Okay, so yes, they can see us. It's just that we cannot see them. Okay, so that does not mean that when you eat chicken, right? Then that bone, when you put in your plate, then suddenly jinn will come lah. Okay, it's just that's the food for the jinn, and they will eat it at their own time. We do not know when. Okay, but it is impermissible, or we cannot use, for example, bones. And I think, what is it? Yeah, you cannot use bones to basically do istinja to yourself. Okay, I mean, you can use water and you can use like pebbles, right? According to the Sharia, according to Sharia, but you cannot use bones for it. Well, although they have the same, how would I say, same texture. Okay, because it is the food for jinn. Okay, and I think it's I don't I have the hadith that it says what are the foods of jinns, but I cannot find it here. Okay lah. So basically, yeah, both are basically one of them.
The next question was, is Iblis being the leader, is it only one Iblis or are there many out there?
Okay, so according to the research that I made, there is only one Iblis. Okay, that's the king of Satan. The Iblis that talked to Nabi Adam, the Iblis that talked to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Okay, so to answer briefly, yes, there is only one Iblis, and like I said, they also reproduce. Okay, I believe that due to that, they have so many offsprings, and they have sons and daughters. They are also genders. Okay, they are male and female jinn. So yeah, so there are only one Iblis, the king of the Satan, and all of them are basically their offsprings.
Okay, I'll try to do two more. Okay, what animals can see jinn and shaitan? And then is it true that Iblis live in the sea?
Okay. So the first question, I am not sure which animals can see jinn. I don't think I can answer that because they are basically, again, if they are blessed or they are given the ability to see jinn, it is from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Okay, up to this point, I didn't find any hadith or any ayat Quran that says that any animals can see jinn. Okay, so to answer that, I think that answers the first question. Secondly, yes, not only Iblis that lives in the sea. Okay, it is being said that his throne, okay, is on top of the sea. Okay, but basically jinn as generally they live in this world, in caves, in forests, and any place that is far from human beings. Okay, so basically they they live with us, but they live in places that are deserted, that are secluded, far from human beings, forests, caves, even if seas, right? It's deeper in the sea where there are no people, right? Jinns can live there too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There's a flurry of questions all regarding this topic. Apparently, people are now very much into this topic of jinn and shaitan and how to get rid of them. But let me just go through two questions. Maybe that will help answer many of this kind of the similar questions. So another one would be to get rid of jinn and shaitan. What any way to get? Is there any way to get rid of jinn or shaitan if we know that it is residing in us? Can we forget all this and just seek help from Allah and avoid Islamic ruqyah? Right. Another question would be: do jinn and shaitan only deceive Muslims? Do they also deceive people of other faiths?
Okay, so all right. So to answer the first question, yes, you can avoid Islamic ruqyah if you want to. You can just seek help from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, but that is applicable if it does not bother you. Okay, if it does not make you like see things, it does not make you lazy to pray. You find it difficult to pray. You find it difficult to do good things. Okay, so yeah, you can just seek help from Allah. Ask Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, to get rid of the jinn or shaitan that is inside you. Okay, that provided you know for a fact that there are jinn and shaitan inside you. Okay, you wouldn't know that even if you don't do the ruqyah, right? So if you feel that you are being disturbed or there's a jinn or Satan inside you, also possessing you, you can seek help from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Just make lots of dua, make a lot of zikir. If it starts to bother you and it affects your life, it affects your lifestyle, affect your family, then you have to do the Islamic ruqyah. You have to seek professional help. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Okay, so the second question was, can
jinn and shaitan only deceive Muslims or also people of other faiths?
Okay, so logically, they do not have to deceive non-Muslims because their purpose is to make Muslims to be led astray from heaven. Okay, so if they were to deceive non-Muslims, okay, it is to only make them further away from Islam. Okay, so that way they basically they are basically achieving their purpose. They are basically achieving their goals. Okay, so up to this point also I read, and all of them are talking about Muslims. Okay, so if, like I said, if they were to deceive non-Muslims, right, it's just to make them farther away from Islam. Okay, but their main purpose is to let Muslims be led astray from led away from Islam, far away from Islam. Okay, so once na'uzubillah, if someone were to go, do you say go up from Islam? Don't become non-Muslims, right? If they na'uzubillah became non-Muslim, then basically shaitan has done their job. So shaitan can move on to another Muslim to deceive him. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I think that answers the question as well.
All right. Okay. Can sihr be done by anyone who is not a sihr expert? Right. Another question is, Ustaz mentioned that the majority of mankind cannot see the unseen, but how is it that there are images of shaitan, and then how come those things are able to be portrayed?
How come they're able to what?
To be portrayed. I mean, you know those images of shaitan, the one with the horns and all that. How come those things actually in paintings and all that?
Okay, so illustrations, right? Illustrations, to my knowledge, is based on experience. Yes, of course. If maybe someone were to see, have been seeing shaitan and jinns, right, they can know what they look like. Okay, however, sometimes it can also be a context or a societal thing that they just make this illustration to represent shaitan and to represent angels. Okay, so from that point onwards, right, anytime we see that figure, it is called a shaitan, it is called a Satan. Every time we see someone with a halo on top of his head, we will call that a malaika, an angel. Okay, so again, it can work. It can work both ways. Maybe that guy has seen a shaitan before, and you know, illustrate what he see or what he saw. Or of course, it can be a societal thing where they can just draw something to represent a shaitan. Okay, so yeah, I think that answers the first question. What's the second question? I'm
The
sorry.
other one was, can sihr be done by anyone who is not a sihr expert?
Of course, no. Okay, you have to be not really an expert, but you have to be knowledgeable at that particular field to be able to do it. Same goes for Ruqyah. If you are not an expert or you're not seeking knowledge regarding Ruqyah, you cannot do Ruqyah to other people. Okay, same goes for Sihr. Okay, so if you are doing, but if you are following someone, maybe it can work. Okay, but that's just like blind following lah, blindly following people. Like they ask you to drink your blood, cut your hand, eat someone's hair, for example. Then you do it, blah, blah, blah. You read something that they ask you to read. Then it works. Yes, it might work, but you are basically following someone. Okay, but for you, for someone who is not a seer expert, of course they cannot do this here lah, because they do not know the procedures, they do not know what to look out for, what not to look out for. Yeah, so I hope that answers the question as well.
Yeah. Okay, maybe quickly for the next two questions. Ghosts a type of jinn? Okay. Another one is, how do we know if we have been sihir? Vinegar and salt part of Islamic ruqyah or healing?
Can you give me just like 3 minutes?
Sure.
Because yeah, I need to do something for a while, just for a while.
Sure.
Sorry. Okay.
Not a problem. Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead, Ustaz.
Sorry, everyone.
Brother Hafiz, maybe you can share about the salt and vinegar while Ustaz is gone.
Okay.
What do you think about salt and vinegar? So is salt and vinegar something that is, I mean, from your experience, do you think about salt and vinegar?
I have no experience at all on this matter. Garlic, yeah. No, so no, I'm totally not an expert on this. Personally, for me, I do know of some Ustaz, Asatiza in Singapore, who do ruqyah the Shari way, right? Those are the people who personally I would trust. Firstly, among the telltale signs that this person is, you know, is a true Muslim. You know that this person, in terms of salah, in terms of reading Quran, all that is good.
Yeah.
Perhaps the person works in a masjid, because if the person works in a masjid and performs ruqyah which is not Shari, then that will be a bit dodgy, you know. So again, I'm not the expert to tell you who are the ones who are good and all that, but one of the telltale signs is that the person should be a mainstream Muslim, right? Not someone who does the dark arts or anything like that. So if you're looking for someone, offline, I can recommend, if you have those troubles or those things where you want Islamic ruqyah or healing, right? That will be offline. Right? But I will tell you that if you're looking for someone who's able to do that the correct way, you need to look for someone who does the Shari way of ruqyah.
Yes, yes.
So Bushra, you want to share other things? Yeah.
I think it's a very good point that you brought out, because I think the biggest telltale, I think, to know whether a person is a good or a credible Raqi, right? Raqi means the person who does ruqyah, is that the person practices Islam properly. If a person does something that is very weird, that you have never seen any other Muslim do, then there's definitely a question mark there. Because the basic rule for knowing a Raqi is that the person doesn't miss their prayers, their 5 daily prayers, and then when they do perform acts of sunnah and everything else, it must be in accordance to what the Prophet ﷺ teach. It cannot be something that is very weird, you have never ever heard of this before, and then that person would come. So I'll pass back to Ustaz. Alhamdulillah, Ustaz is back.
Yeah, but by the way, for everyone, just now Ustazah Bushra mentioned the word Raqi, the person who does ruqyah. Okay, he is a Raqi, R-A-Q-I, not Iraqi, not he's from Iraq. Iraqi is a person from Iraq. The person who does ruqyah is an R-A-Q-I, Raqi. Okay, sorry for the joke. Back to Ustaz Haziq, please.
So what was the question that I have to answer just now?
Salt and pepper, sir.
Salt, vinegar, salt.
Salt and pepper, yes.
Salt, yeah, salt, pepper, vinegar, and the likes. Yeah. Vinegar and salt.
Because I'm not a professional, I'm not sure. I don't think that is. Actually, I cannot answer that question because yes, some people, especially following traditions, right? They will put like salt to the rooms basically, and also maybe some coins if you have seen before. Coins, like 5 cent coin, 10 cent coins at at the door of each room, okay, to prevent jinns from coming in, for example. I'm not sure how true is that, but as far as I know, that is just a tradition. That is just a customary thing that people used to do, and they follow up. Okay. So what was it just? Yeah, I
The
think
other question was, are ghosts a type of jinn? That's what
yes.
people like to ask.
So basically, when you can see ghosts, right? They are basically jinns who change their shape. Okay, so one thing about jinns, right? They are also shapeshifters. Okay, they can shape into different things. There's an ayat in the Quran that that talks about the jinn becoming the neighbor of someone. Okay, so it says like, "Wa inni jarul lakum." Okay, meaning the jinn is basically his neighbor or that person's neighbor. Okay, it can shapeshift into so many things, and yes, when we can see ghosts, that is basically jinn showing themselves to our bare eyes, and showing the ugly side of jinn. And again, this is a kind of deception, or this is trying to reduce our faith, okay, to affect us, where we start to be scared of this ghost, and we start to find impermissible way of how to read of how to get rid of this ghost. Okay, because we are desperate, right? We see ghosts in our house, so we have to we have to do it something immediately. So we go to shaman, we go to bomo, instead of doing the normal ruqyah. Okay, so to answer that, yes, but uh, but I have also heard about this opinion that what we see is basically what we have seen before. Okay, so for example, right, we seen in the movies, in Malay movies, for example, the Pontianak, the Pocong. So what we see from the jinns, right, they will also shapeshift into that thing. Okay, because if we see in American movies, right, if there's a horror movies, there wouldn't be like pocong, right? In American movie, because that's what the society, because that's the society that they live in. They watch different types of ghosts, so the jinn also shift into that type of ghost. Okay, and when we see in American movies, for example, we rarely see beings. We rarely see like ghostly figures, right? We always see people got possessed. The dolls, they move around by themselves. Okay, we rarely see what do you say, that a ghostly figure. Okay, in if we compare it to Malay movies or Malay horror movies, there will surely be those Pontianak, those Osho, Toyol, for example. Okay, so in a way, with that opinion, I believe that these illustrations are basically man-made, or basically they have seen before, so they just try to illustrate that lah. Okay, but that's just my personal opinion. You don't have to believe me, or you don't have to take it from me. Okay, so yeah, I think that answers the question. That's enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Ustaz, next question. May I ask if fortune telling or card reading is a form of shirk? Does this fall under the deception of shaitan? Another person asked whether is it true that a jinn do die, but they live like not our lifetime, but thousands of years?
Okay, so for the first question, yes, fortune telling and mind reading, card reading, is it? Card reading and fortune telling, kind of shirk. Okay, so again, it is a deception not to the one who is trying to know their future. It is a shirk it is a deception towards those who are doing the fortune telling, because he's asking jinn for help. Okay, that being said, sometimes or most of the times they don't seek help from jinns. They just assume that you are having this in the future, and they will say general things like, in 3 years time you will be happy with someone else. So in that 3 years time, anyone that you find that you are happy with, like, oh, that fortune teller is right, so I have to believe him, I have to go to him again. Okay, because that is so general, right? And there's a hadith that Rasulullah SAW said. Rasulullah says, uh, someone asked Rasulullah SAW about fortune telling. Okay, about fortune telling. Then Rasulullah SAW said, Laisu bishai'in. Okay, they have nothing. Okay, they do not know anything. Then they said, but Rasulullah, when they talk about something, sometimes it is the truth. Then Rasulullah SAW said, anything from the truth that anything that they say that is true, one thing that they say is true is being covered by more lies. So basically, what Rasulullah was trying to say was, if they tell you 10 things, one of them is true. So when that thing happens to you, you believe that fortune telling. Okay, but you do not see those other 9 things that they tell that is false. Okay, they can tell you will get married at 23, you get your car at 25, you will have kids at 28, but then you only got the center one. You only get a car at 25. Like, oh, that fortune teller told me that I will get a car at 25 and I got it. That means that fortune teller is right. Okay, but they didn't say about those 2 things, about the kids and the marriage. Okay, so that's how fortune telling or fortune teller deceive you. Okay, on whether they seek help from jinn, some of them they seek help from jinn to really know their future. But again, even jinns do not know your future. Okay, only Allah SWT knows what will happen to you. Okay, and sometimes they do not seek help from jinn. They just, for money, for worldly purposes, they do this kind of job to get money lah, basically to scam people. Okay, but people who are superstitious will believe him lah. Okay, but inshallah, I pray that all of us wouldn't go to any fortune teller and will not be involved in any of these things. Okay.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Okay, everyone, we're out of time, right? Quite exciting series of questions, right? We got especially this topic, very exciting, but alhamdulillah. Okay, thank you, Ustaz Haziq, for a very enlightening session. Thank you for dealing with all these questions, right? I think it was very helpful. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, and thank you, of course, not just Ustaz Haziq, but thank you, Sister Rashida, right, for that sign language interpretation, right? It allows people who need sign language to be able to understand the talk. So, yeah, alhamdulillah. For those of you who are interested to join us in our upcoming talks and events, do click on the link in the chat section that Ustaz Bushra had posted to follow MCAS, that's Muslim Converts Association of Singapore, on Facebook and Instagram, where all our upcoming events will be posted. Right. Your feedback will help us improve our future talks and programs. So I would like to request from all of you to fill in the feedback form that is posted in the comment section. All of our talks and most of our classes are conducted for free. Therefore, we seek your kind contribution to ensure the continuity of our programs. You may contribute at www.mcas.sg/give, G-I-V-E, right? That link is also going to be posted in the chat section. May your generous contributions be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Amin, amin, ya rabbal alameen. Right? And thank you once again, Ustaz Haziq and Sister Rashida. And thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We hope to see you at our future events, inshallah. Right? And let's end tonight's session by reciting Tasbih Kafarah and Surah Al-As. We recite Tasbih Kafarah, right, with the purpose of asking Allah for forgiveness, because during a talk like this, we say a lot of things, we listen to a lot of things. We ask Allah to forgive us for all our sins, inshallah. Right? Subhanakallah wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wa la asr, innal insana lafi khusr. إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر وبالله التوفيق والهداية والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Good night everyone and enjoy your weekend.